Carrie Drolet, and this is Connecting Seniors San Diego. Having an estate plan in place will allow you to avoid many pitfalls. Today we are here with a good friend of mine, Elizabeth Tresp. She's the owner and operator of Tresp Law in Solana Beach. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me, Carrie.
Elizabeth, tell us why someone would need a trust.
There are two main reasons why you want to have your trust as the center of an estate plan. So a trust is a separate entity that's going to hold your property that has deeds and titles, and it's going to help you avoid probate. When you put property into your trust and you put somebody in charge to manage things when you can no longer do that, when you're incapacitated or you pass away, this is going to control where your assets go. If you don't have a trust in place and you're subject to probate, then it goes to court. All of your personal information is in the public record, and that is something that, I don't know about you, but I would not want that. Right. And it's scary enough to think about being incapacitated or passing away, but taking control of the situation and putting people in place that you trust to make decisions for you and ensure that your wishes are followed is critical. The second reason is in the case of when you actually are incapacitated. And I think that is a lot more common these days. We're living longer, and there are certain levels of cognitive decline that happens with a large portion of our generation, and that's very scary to think about. And if you don't have somebody in place, a trustee in your trust, laid out your wishes, that these are people maybe that you want to still receive gifts, you want to maybe remain in your home while you're receiving care. If you don't have those types of things in place and you lose your ability to make financial decisions for yourself, it's going to court again. It's a conservatorship. And a conservatorship it's a great last resort. But the first thing that the judges ask in this type of circumstance is, what are the alternatives? Do you have a power of attorney? Do you have a trust? Because it just is such a more efficient and effective way of ensuring that you, and much less expensive, that you're going to be taken care of. And so putting somebody in that role that can help take care of those things for you is really a safeguard. There are other documents you need too for those circumstances. A power of attorney for finances. I'm sure in what you do, you probably come across a lot of circumstances where you're dealing with a lot of elderly, and they are susceptible, unfortunately, to people that may not have the best intent.
Yeah.
And having documents in place, people that you have trusted and empowered in these roles is critical to safeguard everything that you've worked hard for, and also just your medical care and your person.
I can also imagine that this would be less stressful and emotionally grueling for the family members of
Yes,
their loved
100%. It's a very difficult decision and conversation when you have somebody in your family that is starting to exhibit symptoms of cognitive decline. It's hard to recognize. Sometimes it's just aging. We get forgetful. Even not the elderly. I mean, I know I do. I don't know about you, but
absolutely.
Yeah. So having that discussion with a mother or a father or an aunt or an uncle, talking about some memory issues, leaving the stove on, just safety things as well as financial. Usually it's not a welcomed conversation because it's hard and it's scary for the people that are in that situation. And so having documentation when you were fully able to make decisions for yourself that lays out what you want to happen in that circumstance does make it a lot easier for the family, not just for financial decisions, but medical too.
In your opinion, what do you think, or when do you think the best time to actually create a trust would be?
I think as soon as you own real property, have any kind of accounts that potentially could exceed the probate threshold in the state that you live in. If you have children certainly, because you need to nominate guardians. And you never know what's going to happen. So we have clients from all ages. We have some of our parent clients have their children come to us as soon as they turn 18 because the advanced healthcare directive, the power of attorney, the trust, it's all a critical part of your medical and financial life. And it really should be established as soon as you become an adult because you don't know what's going to happen. And having documentation in place with your agents that have the legal authority to make decisions for you is so important because we have a litigious society, obviously, and so institutions need to be careful about who they disclose information to or who they allow to handle certain things. And so establishing these types of planning and documents should happen really when you turn 18. If your kids are going off to school, parents often establish trusts for their children. They're great gifting vehicles. They're great vehicles to secure inheritance for your kids if they're going to be married. So there's all different aspects of an estate plan that should be taken care of very early. At the latest, when you have children or you own real property, right? When you have real property, you don't want that to go through probate. In summary, talking to an estate planning attorney as soon as you can is going to be in your best interest as well as your family's because they're going to be able to lead you through the education and the execution to secure these decisions. And that's going to be the best case scenario for you and your family.
How would you determine if someone was incapacitated or not?
So this is difficult for family members and the trustee, the successor trustee who's going to be appointed. Most living trusts, and to clarify, the trusts that we've been speaking about are living revocable trusts. There are a variety of different trusts. These are revocable living trusts. The trust generally says 2 independent physicians make that decision. And this can be difficult because physicians, especially primary physicians, sometimes have a difficult time making this determination because it is such a huge decision, putting in writing that someone can't make financial decisions anymore.
Right.
What I'm seeing more and more often are disability panels, which means that you now, as you're drafting your trust and you're talking to your estate planning attorney, can choose people that you know and you trust to also take part in that decision. So potentially 2 treating physicians, maybe one of your children, and maybe a brother or sister, so that there are more people involved in the decision that see you on a daily basis, understand how you really are functioning, because we know with situations where someone is having a cognitive decline, there are certain points of the day where maybe they're much better. And so planning that appointment with the doctors also can be hard because it could be a good day, it could be a bad day, and it's a hard determination. So in those circumstances, generally 2 independent physicians, disability panel is something that people should also consider, I think.
And lastly, Elizabeth, how often do you suggest that someone update their trust?
You want to update your trust anytime you have a big change in your life. So you have a new asset, you buy a new home, you sell something, you have a new child, someone in the family that you've entrusted in a role has passed away. The general rule is 2 to 5 years. You want to take a closer look and ensure that you have funded any new properties or new assets into your trust, that you have in place still the people that you want as your agents for your powers of attorney and your successor trustee. Also, you want to ensure that there haven't been any changes in law. So I would always reach out to whoever the estate planning attorney is and ensure that there's nothing that you need to take into account.
Great. And what's the best way for someone to get a hold of you?
So we have receptionists, and if you call our main number, everything goes through me. So if you call the main number, which is 858-248-2779. We also have inquiries on our website, so if you go to tresplaw.com, then you can reach us that way, and we'd be happy to speak with you.
Great. If you would like some more information, please contact Elizabeth at the number below. Thanks again for joining us, and stay safe, San Diego.